Hello everybody, welcome to Microbiology Lecture Bio 250 for Spring 2024. This is an introduction to the course. I'm going to first follow the syllabus and then I will talk about Blackboard in a little more details. So my name is Kajal Ghoshroy. You can call me either Dr. Ghoshroy, or most people who cannot pronounce that last name properly call me Dr. G. My office is in Schwartz Building in room 138 on in the spring 2024. I only teach your biology 250 lecture and lab. Those are the only two courses I'm teaching. So I will be on campus in my office only on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On both days, I get here by about 7:30 a.m., between 7:30 and 7:45 a.m. And on both days, I'm definitely here till noon. On some days, I may stay a little bit longer. And on Tuesdays, we have a lab, so I am here from 1 to 4 as well. My office hours are 9:15 to 10 a.m. on both days, and those slots are just after our lecture ends. So you can meet me in the lecture room, or if you want to come over with me and follow me to my office after the lecture, you can do that. My phone number is 803-938-3899. This is an office phone, but realize that if you leave a message there, I will only get it on Tuesday and Thursday mornings when I get into my office. So the best way to contact me is by email. You can also Teams chat with me. I check my email and Teams chat very frequently, several times a day. If the Tuesday and Thursday 9:15 a.m. to 10 a.m. are not good time slots for you to meet me for my office hours, you can email me and make an appointment so we can meet at other times. The lecture course is 3 credit hours, and I will be using Blackboard heavily in this course. All your grades and assignments will be on Blackboard. The only assignments we do in paper are your exams. So the 4 lecture exams and the final exams. Your lectures, your videos, the helpful practice questions, all of those are on Blackboard. The due dates are also stated in the weekly folders. So check the due dates there. They are on your schedule as well. Check your email regularly, the one that is connected to Blackboard, so that you receive all my messages. This is our textbook. We are following the 10th edition, which is an old edition because it's cheaper, and you can buy the old books much cheaper from our bookstore on campus. You can also buy it elsewhere, but I'm not sure it's readily available everywhere, because it may have gone out of publication a while ago. I also recommend that you use the coloring book for microbiology. This is not a required text. The Talaro's Foundation of Microbiology is a required text, but the coloring book is not a required textbook. It's an optional textbook, but a few students have told me that they benefit by coloring the parts of that book and looking at the drawings and labeling and things like that. So it's up to you how you feel. I think on Amazon you can buy a used one really cheap also. The prerequisite for this course is college level biology and chemistry, and we have already talked about that in class. Go through the learning outcomes. These are stated by University of South Carolina to be the goals of this course. So this is what you will be learning, and I will remind you about these learning outcomes later on during final exam time. the final exam will also revisit these learning outcomes and test you on them. This is the course description and the course overview. Go through it so you understand what this course is about. I'm going to talk a little bit about what is required in this course. There are several items here, starting with attendance. So by USC policy, if you have one absence, that can be counted as an unexcused absence, and that is accepted in a course that meets 2 days a week, like ours do. Which means that if you are absent for more than 1 day, those will count against you, and the grades will suffer. Excessive amount of absences can result in an F grade in this course. Makeup exams are only given for documented medical reasons, emergency circumstances, and university-sponsored events or activities, and also for excused absences. So I'll go through those policies that USC has in a few minutes. Documented medical events, emergency circumstances, or university-sponsored activities such as any games that athletes are in are all part of excused absences. So by USC attendance policy, and it's available at that website, you can click on that link and get there. There are several kinds of absences. First of all, there are anticipated excused absences. So absences that you know at the start of the semester that you're going to have. All such anticipated excuses and absences must be requested to me in writing. So these could be, for example, religious observances, university events such as athletic events, you have a surgery going on or something like that. All anticipated absences should be submitted to me by 2 weeks from the start of the semester. So by end of January, we should have everybody's excused anticipated absences in file with me. After 2 weeks into the semester, I am not obliged to accept such excused absences. Okay, so make sure that you turn them in if you know about them already. The next category of absences per USC policy is unanticipated excused absences. So these are excused absences that you do not know about at this time or in the first 2 weeks of your class. If you come to such unanticipated absence, you must request in writing why you think you should be excused from those absences. And that can include illness, injury, military deployment, etc. That kind of request in writing should be done within 2 working days after the end of the absence from the class. So let's say you are absent on Tuesday and Wednesday, then by Friday, I should have something in writing from you. For a lab, if a student is absent during a Wednesday lab, the return to his or her class the following Monday, then the student must submit this request by that next Tuesday, okay? You're absent on one Tuesday, you should have the letter to me by next Tuesday. Okay, or another example is if a student is absent from lab on September 20th and then returns to class by Friday the 22nd. And return to class in both examples doesn't mean returning to my class. It means returning to any of your classes, any of your courses. Then that request should be submitted to me by that following Monday the 25th. Unexcused absences are absences that you are not aware of now or don't count under the categories of health, military, injuries, and athletic or USC related events. Okay. You are only allowed to have one unexcused absence in this lecture. And if you need to request an excused absence for confidential reasons, then that request can go to Chris Weisman, who is our Director of Student Affairs, and his office is in Student Life in the Fire Ant Cafe. And Chris will determine the validity of the request and will inform me about it without revealing your confidential issues if you need such excuse. For all absences, whether they're excused, unexcused, anticipated, or unanticipated, if you have missed more than 2 lectures or 2 labs in a semester, then I will always recommend that you drop the course or withdraw from the class. This is because every day we cover about 3/4 of a chapter in lecture, and sometimes we cover even one whole chapter in one day. And if you miss that, it is going to be immensely difficult for you to make that up. Okay? If you're going to be coming in late in the class, please inform me by email before entering the class. Makeup exams and late assignments are only considered for excused absences. If you have not been excused by me to turn in anything late or take a late makeup exam, then you will not be allowed to take such late assignments, or I will not accept late assignments or give you a makeup. Okay? If you have missed more than 4 lectures in a session, even if they are due to excused absence, then I will again recommend that you either drop or withdraw from the class, because 4 lectures are impossible to make up. Your grades will drop by 2 grades. So if you were getting a B, it will drop down to D at that point. This is our grading or evaluation rule for this course. There are 4 in-class lecture exams. Each is worth 100 points. So there are a total of 400 points there. The comprehensive final exam is 200 points. There are 4 quizzes. Each is worth 30 points, so a total of 120 points there. Then you have other homework assignments, and sometimes I give you homework, like next week I'm going to give you a homework. Those are somewhere around 550 points. The chapter assignments are most of them 50 points each. The points for the homework and assignments has an asterisk next to it because this is a flexible number. Sometimes we go lower than 550, sometimes we go higher than 550. Then we also do a term paper on a given topic that you choose, and you write that term paper, and that is worth 100 points. So if you add all that up, you're working towards somewhere around 1,370 points, roughly. At the end of the course, weight is put on these numbers. So your lecture exams will count as 25 of the final grade. Your final exam will count as 30% of the final grade. Quizzes total will count 30% of the final. Your all assignment and homework together will count 5%, and the term paper will count as 10%. So add that all that up, 10%. And this is what the distribution of the weighted total will look like. So in blue here are your exams, which have the biggest weight, and then in orange is your final exam, which has the next biggest weight, and the assignments are in light blue and quizzes are in yellow. They kind of have similar weights, the quizzes being a little more than the assignments. And finally, the term paper is in gray. You can, at any given point, calculate your final grades, although I will be giving you your total, running total on Blackboard at all times. And after a few assignments are done, I will also be giving you a weighted total grades as we go along. Okay, in the beginning of the course, we may not have enough assignments done to give you a weighted total, but somewhere in February, I will start giving you a weighted total also. So at all times, you will know how your final grade is looking like. But if at any time you want to calculate it yourself, this is how you calculate. You take the total of your exams and calculate the average of that. You take your final exam and calculate a percent of that. You take all your total of quizzes and calculate average percent, and then calculate average percent of your assignments. And the equations are on the right side. You can calculate them. Once you've calculated these, add and also include your term paper, then use this equation and add them up, and you will have your final grade calculated. Okay. Remember, lecture and lab are two separate courses, even though the contents are sometimes similar, but they are two different courses. The final exam is comprehensive. It covers all the chapters, and it's mandatory. Everybody must take it. The grading scale is straight, 10-point grade scale. Read the rules for late assignments. Okay, I do not give extensions easily because we are in such tight timeline. If you look at the lecture schedule, which is at the end of your syllabus, you will see that we have very little days between what we do in assignments. So let's say we do our chapter 1 assignment on January 18th, and I grade it on the 19th, okay? And you get to see the answers by 20th. Chapter 2, you turn it in January 25th. I grade it on 26th, 27th. You get to see it shortly after. And then very soon after that is quiz 1. So there's not a big gap between January 25th and January 29th. That's why I do not give you a lot of extensions, because once I grade something, the answers are released to everybody, and then you cannot take a makeup on that because that assignment is now open to everybody. Okay? So don't miss deadlines. Take these deadlines, put it in your calendar, on your phone, so it reminds you every single day what you are doing. For example, I will show you my calendar. This is what my calendar looks like, okay? And this is monthly. So up here is February, January, and I have every assignment on here. And I look at this every single day, and I have written what you guys are doing, what I am grading, what exam I'm making. All that is up here, and I look at this every day. You should have a similar calendar that shows all those deadlines, meaning every deadline that is up here. So no extensions are given for due dates of online assignments, tests, and quizzes. If you're absent from lecture on the due date, your online due date will still apply. So it's your responsibility to follow the due dates and complete them on due time. Okay, if there is a term paper that you're submitting, 10% penalty will be calculated per class day delay, and paper assignments will not be accepted after one class day delay. Once the assignment is graded and returned to class or answers are released, the assignment is not accepted. So I'm a big stickler for due dates. Make sure you maintain those. Read through your responsibilities and what is my responsibility in a lecture, so you know that you are doing part of the work and I'm doing part of the work. Classroom behavior, although the rules are very strict for cell phones, I am pretty lenient with laptops. You can bring laptops to class. You can bring recording devices to class. I don't mind them. Okay, if you are absent for a lecture or lab, make sure that you talk to other people, other students, and get the material from them. You are still responsible for the material covered on the day that you are absent. Then the next part of the syllabus, I cover each part of our assignments, lecture exam, final exam. What do you need to bring with you to the exams? A little more information about makeup exams, quizzes, assignments. Read through them and follow through. Do not email me any assignments because I don't accept them by email. They have to go through Blackboard. There is information about term project here. Read through that as well. I do not give any extra credit, so don't even ask me for extra credit. If you're going to be using ChatGPT or any kind of artificial intelligence, please read the rules that USC has. These are USC policies about use of artificial intelligence. Know that I have detection methods that will detect ChatGPT composition, and if you cut and paste answers from internet, I can detect those too. Blackboard has devices, and I have devices and apps that I use to detect them. And if you are caught cutting and pasting or cheating in any way, then your name will be directly sent to Student Life Director Chris Wiseman, and also the dean, the academic dean, Eric Reisenauer. So be very, very careful about these. There are other policies in here, the tobacco policy, and what to do as a USC Columbia student, and how we follow our Carolina Creed. And this is the USC Honor Code. If you have not read the USC Student Honor Code, please follow that and read that. Okay, there are some tips here how to succeed in this course, and I have made some videos for you about this also. I will point them out in a little bit when I get to Blackboard. These are some resources you have when you need some help. And finally, our schedule. You will see the lecture chapters are given in this third column, and assignments are here in the fourth column, and finally quizzes and exams are here on the next to last column, and the last column has points. So for example, chapter 1 assignment is 50 points there. Quiz 1 here is 30 points. Exam 1 is 100 points. So read the grades, or points rather, horizontally. And the pattern is that we do a few chapters. As soon as we finish a chapter, we do an assignment on it. So chapter 1, assignment for chapter 1. Then chapter 3, assignment for chapter 3. And after a few chapters, we have a quiz. So quiz 1 will cover chapter 1 and 3. And this is color coded, so all the areas in light blue go together, which means that we cover chapters, do the assignments, and do the quiz, and do the exam, and we're done with that blue part. We move on to the orange part.